And welcome back to another GACC podcast where we're going to be discussing games, anime, computers, and collectibles, but not necessarily all that in a week. I am still your host, Harrison, and to my left.
Hi, I'm Faust.
And to my right.
Boss Pander. And
we're going to get into the shenanigans of the week this week, apparently.
Yeah, you've been briefing us on it before the show.
I've been letting this simmer. I haven't talked about Magic the Gathering for a while, but
oh boy, is there a reason.
I want to start by saying, leave UnsleevedMedia alone. Leave Jeremy alone. Leave MTG headquarters alone. Okay.
Okay.
So
you didn't do it right, though.
Oh, would you like to try?
Leave him alone.
Just to completely derail us, I did manage to come across a Weezer video that they did where they went and found all of these tropes from like the Leave Britney Alone guy and the people who did the Mentos and Coke videos where they had like fountains of them going around and everything, and they made a music video with all these people as some sort of like milestone of the generation or something like that. So if you want to like take a break from all of this, keep us on in the background and go watch that Weezer video, I wouldn't put it back like
you're a horrible person. So this whole storm has been brewing for over a year. Okay. This has been, it's like I stopped playing Magic when Origins came out, basically, and I went more into a collector state. Part of it was because of the community in Magic. Okay. So there's been community, there's been changes within by Wizard Official and everything like this. But this Thanksgiving weekend has the whole shitstorm with the community and being divided and diverse and polarized and everything has reared its ugly head, and there's a lot of shenanigans with it. What really set it off was a known cosplayer. I forget her real name offline, but she goes by CS Spankle Run on Twitter, and she ended up tweeting
Sprinkle Run.
Sprinkle.
Yeah,
Sprinkle Run.
Yeah.
And she had tweeted out yesterday, it has been a rough year, and I have blocked and not said anything about him because I wanted it to die, but without a doubt, MTG headquarters, UnsleevedMedia, has made my life hell this whole year with his unnecessary videos and tweets about me and other members of Magic. And so it's like, I feel like a terrible person, like I'm going through a horrible breakup. I love Magic so much, but I can't put it into words. By any time apart from it, I don't want to become so bitter with one of the things I love. And
so this person is essentially retiring as a cosplayer or retiring as a Magic player.
Yeah. And this is after she took a break from Twitter from about November 13th on, because she was receiving a lot of hate at that time. She received a lot of hate at that time for she got invited to play a game of Flip It or Rip It. Okay.
Dumb game.
So
it's from what I've heard it described to me earlier, it's kind of like Russian roulette.
Right.
So
it's terrible.
You take a pack, an unopened pack of Magic Booster, which is 7 cards.
15
cards these days. And
showing your age there.
Yes. Lay them out. I don't care. This silly game. So you lay them out face down.
Yep.
And then you decide whether to flip it or to rip it.
One person is usually the flipper, the other person's the ripper, and you take turns.
Okay.
Okay. Well, apparently she ended up...
Sounds about as dumb as Russian roulette.
She ended up ripping up a Kaladesh masterpiece, like value probably averaging somewhere between $50 to $200. Okay, for this.
$15 to $200.
$50 to $200.
50 to 200.
Yeah,
that's a wide margin.
And she received an insane amount of hate in social media for this. Okay,
why?
apparently people were like, "Oh, you're destroying cards," you know, and just everything. And
she didn't rip up your priceless card.
Yeah.
yeah, and
That was her job during the game, is to rip up cards.
I mean, you know, that's losing Russian roulette. You just, I mean, yeah, I mean, I can understand the reaction because if it were actual Russian roulette, you would have watched her shoot somebody.
yeah,
But, you know.
You're a dick. Because it looks like he's about to push another one off, too.
So any of our audio listeners keep hearing these like boxes falling. That would be the cat on the table behind the figurines, just pushing them off.
So there was an unwarranted reaction.
There was an unwarranted reaction,
Yeah.
and I feel it's a really unwarranted reaction because this is no different than somebody decides to quit Magic and throws all their cards in the trash. Okay?
Which I am guilty of doing.
It is intentional destruction of the product.
I quit around Mirage. That's why
Sell them.
I didn't know that at the time. I was a teenager in high school.
But
And yeah, I quit around Mirage, which if active players will probably know, that was a long time ago, and I had some really pricey cards.
But over the years, there has been intentional and unintentional destruction of cards. And me as a collector goes, good, excellent, yes, you know.
Which is the proper reaction. You know, you watch a flip it or rip it something. I would watch something like that just because of that reaction, knowing that there are people out there tearing their hair out watching some of these cards get destroyed, and I'm like, you know, they're ripping paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They only have a perceived value, really. I mean, that booster pack cost, $4. Oh, you know,
Where are you buying booster packs?
Yeah.
they're usually $4.
They're like 6.
No, they're 4.
I've been known to spend 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the high end ones, like the vintage ones and
It
everything
just
like
depends which ones you're getting.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
$4 for a booster pack.
with that aside,
Yeah.
this is where she caught a lot of her hate.
She ripped up this. What is it called again?
Masterpiece.
It's a Kaladesh masterpiece.
Kaladesh masterpiece.
It's basically a treasure card where there's basically a masterpiece. There's typically one of these treasure cards, 1 to 2 for a.
I'm putting one up over my face in the video.
per every 6 booster boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you buy a case of
Damn.
booster boxes, you're going to get 1, maybe 2 if you're lucky.
No.
So
Okay.
you're probably going, oh my god.
Right.
Are the terms
At the
mythic
same
rare?
time, you know, if it,
Don't
you know what
apply.
kind of game it is.
They have mythic rare treasure cards,
Yeah.
but it's still, the fact is, it's
This is an ultra rare card.
Yeah.
That she ripped.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
By the rules of the game that she entered into. Anybody witnessing this would have to understand the rules of this game.
with judges and artists. Okay, we're talking about Magic artists were part of this too,
So
and they didn't get the hate that she did.
yeah, like they were all party to this.
Yeah.
And it's not like it was intentional. This was just a random draw.
Now,
Now that we've fully identified how dumb this prospect is, it gets dumber.
yeah, it gets dumber, and a lot of it is her claim to quitting is by going after MTG headquarters or Unsleeved Media and saying he is the cause of her leaving the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he made one video in regards to 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, in regards to her talking about somebody having to basically stop a perceived rape and put it up on her Twitter or something like that. And then there was a bunch of virtue signaling that went on in this. And he was criticizing all the virtue signaling of it.
Virtue signaling.
Yeah. And white knighting.
Oh, okay.
About how the Magic community is so bad and whatnot. She didn't actually get raped. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically, what it was is some 13 or 14-year-old kid went and looked at her cosplay pictures and was all like, I went and saw your stuff and I left with a boner.
Okay.
Well, you guys don't get on Imager at all, do you?
I literally had a guy tell me one day that he had gone home the night before and whacked off in the shower thinking about me. So
Were you sexually harassed and assaulted because of that?
I may have been.
Are you going to... Did
You know,
you,
it as weird as it was, I sort of felt like, I don't know, like, not privileged. What's the word?
Flattered?
Flattered, sort of grossed out, but
Yeah.
flattered at the same time.
There has to be a word. I'd like there to be a word where it's a combination of grossed out and flattered at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
that would be a good word.
Yeah. It's something that's like, that's nice. I want you to obey this restraining order now.
Yeah.
Like,
if anybody knows of this word, let us know.
yeah, definitely. Down in the comments, if there's a word that combines both grossed out and flattered, or some combination of similar terms.
Now, this cosplayer has typically dressed up, and one of the more famous things she's done is Liliana. Okay? And Liliana is naturally a seductress, okay, in magic.
Looks like a cosplayer.
So
Good makeup.
I'm trying to find everything here. But the thing is like, if you're going to cosplay, you know, you got to expect there's going to be some flack for things, right?
Well, so my view of cosplay is twofold. There are the cosplayers out there who put real, actual, solid effort into things like their makeup and their costumes. And I have seen some solid work. My favorite, most recent cosplay to date has been the Walker from Horizon Zero Dawn that was around, I believe, San Diego Comic-Con. I'm pretty sure they might have gone there. But it was an amazing thing because it looked almost just like it hopped right out of the game. And that shocked the hell out of me. I mean, I've seen Power Armor, I've seen Warhammer 40k Space Marines, I've seen a lot in person, I've seen a lot online, and it's all phenomenal work. And anybody who's willing to take the time and put that kind of effort in deserves recognition for doing something that they enjoy. And even I cosplayed once at Chicago Comic-Con. Not Chicago. Salt Lake Comic-Con. Salt Lake City Comic-Con. I was part of a cosplay, but that's for a show that I didn't know anything about, and I was just there because I was in cosplay because my roommate was in cosplay.
I like cosplaying.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy that. So.
Then there's the other side of cosplay, which is kind of akin to why there are still wonderful sales for these sexy costumes, sexy insert something here costumes for Halloween parties and stuff like that. It's a chance to show off the body. It's a chance to show off assets, and there are a lot of cosplayers out there who make a lot of money wearing costumes that they like, that they've either commissioned or designed themselves or made themselves, and it is something that shows off their features. And I'm assuming that there are males as much as there are females. Maybe not as much, but you know, there's representation from everything there.
I've seen some pretty good cosplays of God of War, and you got to have the body for that.
Yeah, I've seen. There's that one guy who does the Geralt cosplay from Witcher, and that is spot on. If you're watching, I doubt you'll ever see this, but that is spot on. That is amazing cosplay. But it is about not his, but you know, there are some that are just about showing off the features or being, you know, sort of a model for these things, and it's also about the way the female body specifically is represented within video games and media and art, especially Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. I mean, you know, there's plenty of rumblings online about specifically female armor, like metal armor that has the two bowls on the front, how that would be so not appropriate in any way, shape, or form for any sort of combat.
Well, true.
You know, because it creates a weak point right in the middle of the chest where your heart is. Like, why would you want to do that? Even then, it's got two round things that are just guiding any kind of axe blade straight between. Yeah, no. So, I guess I'm good at kind of roundabout. So
with all this,
yeah,
I mean, she's done like things like Zero Suit Samus and whatnot, and a lot of nerds, teenagers. There's a lot of social ineptitude nowadays. Okay,
well,
where they don't know how to handle themselves either on social media or in public. Okay, where they're going to say something tasteless like this,
like, I looked at your pictures and it gave me a boner.
Yeah.
Which is not even very well received at...
He didn't even say, like, he was jacking off to him or anything, so...
It's not even well received at the AVN Awards. Adult video. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of a weird thing we're not being like that. Like, that's actually Zero Suit Samus. I mean, she may have chosen that as a way to show off her body, but that's... I mean, she has the body type to fit. that sort of thing. And there are people who will wear things just because they want to feel like those characters. And then there's an even further layer of all of this, which is there's actual pornography that is created wearing costumes.
Yes.
That
muddies the waters.
It muddies the waters completely. And unfortunately, when you go into cosplay, especially if you're a female, it must be a nightmare. I mean, the last 2 conventions, and probably there was 3, including Duke City Comic Con. The last 3 conventions I've been to, there have been either cosplay safe spaces or signs saying that cosplay does not equal consent.
Yeah,
or both.
Yeah, and so the social ineptitude, not being able to have the manners or the wherewithal to handle yourself in an appropriate manner, means that now these people have to go running into a corner somewhere and making sure that they stay safe, even though they're just wearing something for the sake of wearing it. Because they want to wear it. They're not wearing it for you. Yeah. They're wearing it for them.
Yeah. And, I mean, we ran into these cosplayers because, I mean, Boss Panda and I we worked and played at Grand Prix Albuquerque back in 2013. And, I used to play a lot at the shops.
Now, but...
Okay. All in all, at these events, because, I mean, there are a lot of layers. We're trying to dig through the onion on this because this is
it goes deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
So
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
So with this, I haven't seen any of these issues that have been perceived or talked about or anything about like harassment in the community or not being inclusive or being unwelcoming to females from a harassment or white cis male or misogynistic sexist type of thing. I mean, the tournaments are very inviting, very friendly, and I don't see this stuff in there. Boss Pander, have you seen the issues that seem to be being talked about being harassed and everything in regards to tournaments?
I haven't seen anything like that, and I worked a tournament, and I've actually been in some small stuff like the opening day or whatever thing. Some people, they don't know how to take baths, but harassment really, I mean, towards the females or anything, no. The only maybe harassment you might get is the ones that think they're just uber elite players and they just talk down to pretty much everybody. And they talk down to the males, they talk down to the females. It doesn't matter that you're female.
It's just you're beneath them because you're
not as good of a player as them.
Yeah,
it's the tryhards that I think actually cause.
There goes another box.
It's the tryhards I think that have started to actually drive people out of the game. Okay, because it's like I prefer the competitiveness of it, and I really like playing that competitive environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there are just some snotty, obnoxious, elitist tryhards that ruin the entire experience. They're not trying to be helpful. They just stay with their clique of friends. They give 2 shits about you or helping to improve you as a person play Magic.
I mean, you should be helpful and stuff with people. If
unfortunately,
they don't know what's going on, you should help them.
I believe that's possible with any game, unfortunately, because it's been my experience with a lot of the online stuff that I've tried to hop into, from TF2 to Destiny, even a little bit in Overwatch, and even viewing from the outside, seeing the kind of stuff that can go on, or the things. Now we have games that are actually designed around trolling people, things like Rust and Ark, where it's, make a base gets broken into, and that's the game. It's designed around that. And I think it's just something about, trying hard. Any game is great, and being able to play with other people is great, but I don't like to play against any random schlub on some leaderboard or in some sort of random pick and mix. I don't like the idea of having to be shunted together with whoever is available at that point in time. If I'm going to play a multiplayer game, I'd rather know who I'm playing with, and B, who I'm up against in some capacity outside of that game. And that's because any of those online kind of games, any game really, can be ruined by somebody who is just trying too hard to be too good at that game.
So with all this, even Mark Rosewater in a Tumblr post, and this is an official post by Mark Rosewater, who is the head of R&D and basically the face of Magic. In his post where they're talking about Spike Tournament Grinder being female as a card, whatever, I'm fine with that for the most part.
Don't care who's on the card,
Yeah.
care what the card does.
They said that the active player base is around 12 million players. A couple years ago, it was reported as 20 million. Okay. So there's been like a 40% drop. And they're saying that the female percentage is between 25 and 35%. This is total play, including digital. They say there's a smaller percentage of people playing in organized play. I believe this is true. Probably because it's smelly. More so than anything.
And it is expensive, and you're tired. I mean, you got to go to work, school, take care of the house, the family, whatever you're doing.
Plus, there's not a more expensive way to find out you've been playing the game wrong this entire time.
Yeah. But what really concerns me is he goes, not because of being uncompetitive, but because the environment is often not welcoming. So,
which is a pretty blanket statement.
Yeah,
it's unpointed. It's a dull statement.
It's a dull statement, but this is kind of a reflection of the community, the commentators out there for Magic, a lot of the Magic channels they're promoting and everything, talking about Magic being uninclusive, uninviting because of neckbeards and cis white males and harassment and everything else like that. In this, though, for this card, he talks about this being a female one. They wanted to complete the cycle for the diversity sakes with a female representation. While in the Pro Tour, there's only one pro female player. I mean, the amount of pro players that are female is like 5% tops compared to Magic in the stores being, let's say, 10%. Okay?
There's still a female there, though.
Yeah. But that card is not depicted after the Spike Tournament Grinder female player. The other two that they had in the unsets before, like Timmy Power Gamer and like Johnny, like Combo Breaker, something like that, were both the portraits of them were based off of pro Magic players. Okay, that's why I'm calling a little bit of bullshit on this one. It's because this card, to the best of my knowledge, is not a portrait of the female pro player.
We could look up female pro Magic players and see if any of them look like it.
According to him, there's only one on the circuit right now.
So it should be easy to find.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, as much as people argue about this kind of stuff, and they have every right to say that they don't feel included. That's a personal opinion. That's a feeling about something like that. But in the end, you're buying the cards. They're your cards. You play the game by the rules that are dictated, and this is all decided around Wizards. The fact that they're making steps at all to try and be inclusive is something to be acknowledged. When they're the ones in charge of the creativity around this game, they're the ones who have been breaking it over and over and over again for years now. And they have every right to do so. It's their property.
Doesn't look anything like her.
They have every right to commission whatever kind of artwork for any card. And think about it, like Magic was essentially technically the first popular trading card game.
Yeah.
One of the I'll say one of the first. I don't want to have people crawling out of the woodwork saying that something else was around or not. But and it spawned such popularity that there were games coming out for Star Wars, Doctor Who, I mean pretty much any kind of fandom you can think of. And then the card game that took over all of it completely was Pokemon, of course, and Yu-Gi-Oh, which is an anime designed around a trading card game.
Well, I just know way back the first time I played Magic, I must have been about 21, I would guess. And I found some cards at a yard sale and bought them. And I was like, because they were pretty cards. I thought it might be interesting. But then I didn't really know much about it. I didn't know they were really collector's items. So I don't know whatever happened to those cards. I wonder if any of them were worth something.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with all this. I mean, and this is, we'll probably have to go into this some more.
We'll probably come back about this.
Yeah. So give me a minute here. We're going to take a quick break.
We'll be right back after this.
After these messages.
And this was pointed out to me, and may be true, it may not be true. Typically, when two women get into a fight, the goal is death. Like
it's to embarrass the other.
So I corrected the statement.
You make
earlier.
the other look bad.
I corrected the statement earlier.